Okay, guys, welcome back. Season 2, episode 4, and we have a real treat for both the listeners and ourselves. Content King Rick Shields, how are you, pal?
I'm very, very good. I'm excited to be on the podcast and on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's a shame it's taken lockdown for us to connect like this, but I'm excited to chat all things golf. I love what you guys are doing on your channel. I think you're absolutely smashing it. Certainly from a testing standpoint, you are putting equipment properly through its paces, and I respect you for that. I think your facility looks amazing. I'm excited about chatting, and whether we geek out or just chit chat, whatever. How are you guys coping over? How are you guys coping over there?
We're doing okay. We're hanging in there. It seems to me when I talk to people back home, Rick, it sounds like the measures in the UK and Canada are exactly the same.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah,
really similar.
Yeah, we've been on. This is now, as we're recording this, I'm not sure when the podcast is going to go live, but so tomorrow is 3 weeks in lockdown. So 3 weeks since the golf courses have been closed, since we've been advised to stay at home, since you can't really leave, the house unless it's absolutely essential.
I know.
And 3 weeks, I'll be honest, has kind of flown by in some regards. I don't know how many more weeks I can do, I'll be honest.
I know.
But I suppose we have to do it, and we have to get through this, and we will get through this. But it'll be tough. What's it like in Canada? Does that sound about the same?
I mean, they haven't gone sort of all the way in terms of restricting, your leaving of the house yet.
Yeah, I think it's the same though.
It's close enough.
You guys can get to the chemist, the pharmacy, grocery you can go to the supermarket, you can do the essential stuff. You're just, other than that, it's just stay home, isn't it?
Yeah.
A golf course is closed there?
Yes.
We haven't opened yet.
Yeah, we wouldn't have opened, but if they were, they would have been closed.
So with the seasonality.
Because of the weather?
Yeah,
weather.
Yeah. So we've probably the last 2 weeks have just got warm enough.
Yep.
They're really protective over here, right? I mean, I remember back home as a junior, you would go in any weather, wouldn't you? And the ball's bouncing, it's almost more fun.
You guys must get proper. Are you quite north in Canada?
No, we're about as south as it gets. Yeah, we're about as south as it gets.
I've only ever been to Canada once.
Right. Yeah. What part of Canada did you visit?
Can you guess?
I mean,
it's I would have said Toronto.
But I would have thought you came to Toronto personally, but
Niagara Falls.
Okay, well, you're close enough. Yeah,
we're an hour and 20 minutes from Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So really
that's
close.
The only place I've been. When I was a kid, we did quite a few weeks in America, and we drove up to Niagara Falls, and that's my only time across the border in Canada. I loved every minute, but it was very short stayed. I'd love to come back one day.
Another hour and a half east, and you'd be in this building. It's about as far as you'd have to go.
Half an hour as the crow flies. Yeah. You would literally cross Lake Ontario. You'd be right with us in the city.
Yeah, it's true enough.
The place you've got there looks phenomenal, by the way.
Thanks, bud.
It's a hell of a place. Yeah, Ian's he's put together sort of a nice, very clean, modern industrial, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, it's really clean. Awesome. I mean, it kind of has the feel like an Apple store when you walk in. It's got the kind of full glass front to the exterior when you walk in, and it came out really nice. But we had a good canvas to work with, and it came out good.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. The building looks very kind of, like say, industrial chic.
It is, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And like say, the way you've been put all the shafts together, the hitting nets, even the way that you present your tables and the way that you film your videos, you can tell it comes across with that real, quite clinical point to it, but it looks super sharp and also looks very evergreen. It doesn't look like it would date for an awful long time, which I think is really important when making videos.
Yeah, we appreciate that for sure.
I mean, I think back in the UK, one of the roles I had at TaylorMade was part of opening new facilities. So you get a chance to see some really good ones. So I opened the TMPL at Turnberry. We got a chance to see blueprints of the one they done at Quinta do Lago in Portugal. And those are some really great looking studios. So you make little notes along the way, and you just try and kind of add a little bit of everything and hope it comes out nice. And it did. The tough thing we're going to have is to try and duplicate it when we do other stores.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Is that the plan, to franchise out, to expand?
I think we'll do it. We'll do it internally, though. We'll keep ownership of it and add the stores and grow within ourselves. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'd love to do it. I mean, bring it back to the UK is my dream, to be honest.
Great. Yeah.
If you need a YouTuber, to maybe do some videos from one of them, you
would be customer number one, I think. Come over and see.
I've got Peter Finch's number, so
exactly. I think we could have a bit of fun with that, can we?
Speaking of Peter Finch, we both watched the Golf Better Challenge yesterday.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it. Listen,
I know. So let's not talk about the. Golf.
I think what it is, gentlemen, it's I'm here for the entertainment.
I hear you.
I'm here for the entertainment, the smiles, and the that's about it. For the matchup, listen, I'm playing against a tour pro these days. It's back in the day.
He's a full timer.
Back in the day, I had a frigging chance.
Yeah.
No longer do I have a chance. This guy plays every day. He sleeps, breathes, eats golf.
He's working hard at his game, isn't he?
Yeah, his swing looks good. Yeah, it does.
I think you'd smash it past him, though.
It would be fun to watch it.
I've seen his Instagram lately, though. He's hammering it. The equipment part of it. I mean, both Ian and I said, like, we straight up. Hopefully we can get your permission on this podcast. We just want to do the same thing in Canada. Yeah. There's a used golf shop kind of a little east of Toronto. I thought the two of you in the shop picking out your stuff was like the best. So it looked like such a good time just kind of going through those racks.
We own the copyright of the idea, so just speak to our lawyers. I'm sure we can sort it out.
We'll shoot him an email later.
A significant offer we'll put in there. It's funny, even on the weekend, Rick, I was sitting there, and I was very familiar with Golf Bidder, but from back home. And I'm going, this is amazing. So I get on Golf Bidder and I start building my own set.
Yeah.
So I start basically putting together a £500 set. I go, okay, what driver can I get? 3-wood, hybrid, irons, wedges, putter. So,
I made a big mistake this year. You'd think after 5 years I'd get this down, but unfortunately this year I made some bad choices. And
the driver was tough.
I think I didn't spend. Well, the year before I used a similar driver and smoked it and had no issue. And beat Pete last year. So I kind of went down this route of, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
True enough.
But not realizing that he splashed all his money on an M1 driver that absolutely tonked me to bits. So I just had no chance off the tee. But no, it's good. I like having the challenges. Like I say, it was the fifth and final one that we had in the series.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do videos again in the future, obviously together and obviously with Golf Bidder. But no, it was good. It was a nice finale. But listen, it's one of those things. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
It's true.
I tell you what, though, when you played those final few holes,
it's done well on views.
I mean, it's as good a content as you'll see golf related online right now.
I think that's what people love to see.
The series and the whole build up to it, splitting it on each channel. I thought it was brilliant. If you had that M1 in your bag, you could see that. You could see that being a role reversal.
I must admit, there was a little bit of a last minute. For some reason, I was stupid, as I mentioned, and I chose an extra club. I chose a 2-iron when realistically I didn't need it. If I was plotting my way around a golf course, 2-iron is needed. I've become so reliant on my own 2-iron in my bag that I almost feel like I feel naked if I don't have one in the bag. Weirdly, But in retrospect, an 18-hole match play event doesn't require a 2-iron, so that's kind of where I let myself down. I spent way too much money on it. I just made some bad choices. And if anything, listen, if that can be my excuse. If that's the reason I lost, I can take that.
Exactly.
Not the fact that he's I can't chip at the moment. I'm not particularly the greatest putter, and I'm rusty. But hey, listen, it's one of those things. It's good. It's good fun.
Content was brilliant.
It was good.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Let's talk about clubs you're playing now. Then,
yeah,
what do you got in your bag right now? I know you still got the F9 in there, don't you, driver?
Yeah. So I took the standpoint kind of back end of last year and this year certainly that I really would not change a club in my bag unless I absolutely believed it was better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've been lucky over the last number of years to test a lot of equipment, as you know, and you guys are the same. Mm-hmm. And sometimes something shiny catches your eye and suddenly you're swapping it out of the bag just because. And I thought, you know what, this year I'm kind of over that. I'm over the novelty of, the new equipment, let's say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's actually make choices that make sense. So you're right. Yeah, I've still got the Cobra F9 in the bag. I thought that was a phenomenal driver for 2019. I don't know how you guys tested it, but for me, it was literally good. The driver to beat last year, and not only in performance but price and everything.
Yeah,
so that's still in the bag. I think if I was to put a driver in the bag this year, it'd probably be TaylorMade Sim.
That's what Ian's got right now too.
Yeah, like I say, if literally someone said no, you have to use one this year, I'd probably go sim. And then I've got a really old fairway wood in my bag. I say really old. In my world, it's old, but in a lot of golfers' world, it's not that old. I've got a Cobra F7, and never in a million years would I say I'd have a Cobra driver and Cobra 3 wood in my bag. Certainly not driver, but I've always liked the F7, so I've kept that in. I've recently put the new Titleist U510 2-iron in my bag. Only because my Callaway Apex weirdly actually came. I needed you guys. It's come off. The head's come off.
Did it really?
And instead, it was quite a number of years old. And instead of getting it fixed, I decided to just put another 2-iron in the bag, which was a bit silly, but I do like it. And I've got nice ping blueprints. Yeah, I've got ping blueprints from 4 to pitching wedge, which I really like. And then I've got MG2 wedges, 52, 56, 60, all in chrome with the rusty face. I've got an even roll ER2 putter in the bag in black, and I use the Pro V1 ball. So listen, I don't probably play as much as I should do as, actually play golf. I'm sure you guys are the same. When you're working and you're in golf, it's always hard to actually play golf. And it sounds like you guys even make it harder out there because of the restrictions.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think if I was to probably change anything right now, I'd look to probably change my irons. They're not the most forgiving in the world, and they look pretty in the bag, but it's not about looking pretty in the bag sometimes, is it, when you're trying to get it around the golf course?
Yeah,
it's very true.
That's a good point.
Very true.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's funny watching when you and Pete play. In a way, it kind of reminds me a little bit when Matt and I play, because you obviously, your miss is going to be left. My miss is left. So, we can kind of keep up with each other when I'm hitting it really good, but when he hits a really good one and I miss one, there's a stretch on our matches and things like that. And,
you've caught back up lately.
Lots of similarities, but Sim is a good driver for sure.
What else has kind of caught your, not for your own bag, but what's caught your eye this year, Rick, from an equipment standpoint? Like, what have you tested that you've thought is just super good?
A lot of them are putters, weirdly. So I honestly thought the triple trap putter, as soon as I saw that concept, I was like, oh, wow, this is this could be really game changing for someone who does line the golf ball up on the putting green. To have those lines on the actual putter, I just thought, wow, this is sensational. The only thing I personally don't like is the triple track ball, the chrome soft ball.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think there's going to be, there already are little tools out there where you can draw 3 lines on a golf ball, and you can stick it on a Pro V1. So no, and I'm not the biggest fan of the chrome softball, and I understand what Callaway and Odyssey are trying to do there. They want you using the ball and they want you using the putter. It makes sense. I get that. Like, why not? It's perfect science. But as soon as I saw that design come out, I gave it to a friend of mine who's not a particularly great putter, and he's always been awful at lining up, and he just literally put the putter down and was like, I can see where I'm aiming. I'm like, okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So that putter's really impressed me this year. I've also weirdly then go flip side. I really like the picks, TP5 picks.
Okay, yeah, so do we. Yeah, I think it's a great ball.
I think the TP5 is a phenomenal golf ball. Anyway, I used it for quite a number of years. I don't really know why I changed back to Pro V1 kind of last year, but probably I ran low on stock of TP5s and had loads of Pro V1s, so there's not that much of a difference between the two balls.
No, that's fair.
You guys know. And then the picks I only tested recently, and it reminded me of what I loved in a TaylorMade TP5 golf ball. But I also like the added bonus that you can align it up on the putting green, and also what I like about the pick design, and it's fairly symmetrical, so wherever it lands on the golf course, it's not putting you off, which is something I really struggled with the triple track golf ball. It's great on the putting green, but anytime it lands where those lines aren't aiming the way you're hitting, they're just so unbelievably off-putting. I just can't. I can't square up to a golf ball when the lines are, off a tee and putting, it's absolutely fine. But when you stood with a 50-yard pitch and the lines on the golf ball are just aiming the complete wrong way.
Yeah, like over there or something. Yeah, true.
And, it's not even if it's like, if it was parallel to the club face, then fine. If it was parallel to the target, fine. But if it's any other variation, it's awful.
Yeah.
Where with the picks ball, wherever it lands on the golf course, it kind of looks the same. So weirdly, the things that have impressed me most this year have been a putter which has got visual aids on it, and a ball which has got visual aids on it. And I think that's where golf's going to go a little bit. You know, I think ways of helping a golfer find their performance pockets and help them, you know, fine tune any of those performance pockets like a putter or a ball. Sure. I think that's where the next evolutions are going to go. And also things like technology. I'm a big fan of what Cobra Connect are doing with Arcos and things like that. I don't, you know, and Garmin, the Garmin guys do it as well. I don't use it as personally as much as I would do because I don't play every Saturday, week in, week out. Right, but I think if you did, the benefits would be phenomenal. Like, I do honestly think the benefits. I think the drivers, you know, I'll be honest, nothing's massively blown me away this year with drivers. I've been quite excited to test a few products. I've been less than excited about testing other products, yet sometimes that's shocked me. So like the Callaway driver, I wasn't that bothered about this year. You know, I didn't like the name, the Maverick. I didn't like the particular look of the driver.
The color, what did you think of like the color scheme?
I just didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like it. And so, you know, and that might talk a lot about what I like and don't like. I am a very visual person. You know, it's probably why I do more YouTube videos, and I like taking nice pictures and I like making nice videos, and I'm very visual. Right. And things like the Maverick, when it's the name I'm not the biggest fan of and the color scheme I'm not the biggest fan of, but overlooking that, performance was great. Where Sim on the other side, I loved the look of it from up top. I thought the crown was phenomenal look. I didn't particularly like the angle of the inertia generator at the back, but I can kind of get past that because you're not looking at it all the time. But I do honestly think performance-wise, possibly Maverick took it for me this year on performance against the Sim. But as an overall driver, I like the look of the Sim. I like the sound of the Sim. I like the fact, you know, the performance was really strong with it. I feel like there's no irons that have massively jumped out at me this year. I know it's not particularly iron season yet. We typically, as you guys know, we start to see irons more like September time when Titleist and Mizuno and guys like that bring their irons out. Obviously, at the start of the year, January, February, as you guys know, it's all about drivers. Weirdly, like say, putters and balls came out soon after that in kind of March time. And then really now, obviously, equipment generally, in a weird way, lucky for us, equipment does go a little bit quieter release-wise now till back end of the year. We'll see the odd release through the summer, you know, like specialist little products or one-off products, but you never really see a chain of new drivers or a franchise. Not like years ago where we would expect 2 or 3 drivers from each company, certainly TaylorMade in the past. So they're the kind of things. Like say, I feel like if we're only measuring 2020, it's quite hard to, you know, we've not had enough to go at just yet.
That's true.
You know, but there has been some glimpses of really nice piece of technology, you know, from me, visual technology that I think will help golfers around the world.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I think we've seen some similar stuff, haven't we? We both moved into some new irons this year in the T100s.
T100 irons we thought were really good.
Yeah, we like those. Golf ball, we've been really impressed with the Bridgestone line. Yeah, what did you think of you tried some Bridgestone new golf balls?
Weirdly enough, I've only ever tested the Bridgestone Tiger golf ball from last year. And it was actually this time. Okay. Yeah, it was the new one's only just come out, hasn't it? Only just released recently. I'll be honest, I actually find it difficult to get hold of Bridgestone stuff.
Is that right? Oh, okay. The next 2 of us.
We tried to get some of the new golf balls, and they sent us 3 packs with a one of each, and then we sent us a bill for
one golf ball of each.
I didn't know you got a bill.
Oh yeah, they sent us a bill for $150.
Okay, there you go. So we bought them.
So we basically bought them.
Well, to be honest, I did with the Tiger balls last year. I bought them. I was actually in a golf shop and I saw them on the shelf, and I was like, in the Tiger packaging, you know, with the Tiger signature on, with the Tiger stamped on the side, and I kind of got this idea that would make for a cool video.
And we did the same thing. I think we probably made the same video within a month. But Tiger ball has to be a video.
Yeah. And I released it Masters week, and he luckily went on to win Masters. And the video kind of went through the roof with the ball. And then they brought out the one this year, and weirdly I said to him, not a problem, send them over. But they wouldn't send any Tiger balls. And I don't know, it's a weird one with Bridgestone. I feel like I understand there is other golf balls in the range, which I'm sure would be very good.
Yeah.
I think from a viewer, an audience at the moment. We're still a bit too new to Bridgestone. Certainly in the UK, I feel like we never see them in the UK, weirdly.
Yeah,
you know,
enough.
I would say Srixon is the number one selling golf ball here in the UK.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the AD 333 I think is the number one selling golf ball.
Yeah. Wow.
Just in mass, mass, sales. I think then something like the Project, or it was called the Project A, TaylorMade Project A golf ball. That was a massive, because it's at that price point. It's what, £20 a dozen. It's a really good performing golf ball. And then you step up into your premium golf balls, your Pro V1s, your TP5s, your Srixon Z Stars. And I feel like if someone was to pick a Bridgestone up off the shelf at the moment, I would almost question why they're using that golf ball. If I played in a golf event, even if I played with you guys and we go out, if we're in Orlando in January and we pitch up on a tee and, you're all kitted out, the best equipment in the world, and on the tee I go, right, I'm using a Pro V1, somebody says I'm using a TP5, and you guys go, I'm using a Bridgestone, I'd almost look at you like, Bridgestone?
Yeah, what are you doing?
At the moment, I'd almost be thinking, if somebody had a Bridgestone golf ball playing, I'd expect to turn around and see the whole bag Bridgestone. Tiger being exception, Tiger being obviously the exception, of course, because there's contracts in there that's not allowing him to play with other clubs and whatever. But I just don't feel like I've got my teeth stuck into the Bridgestone ball yet. I really like the Tiger ball that I used, and would be willing to test more balls. But I think the biggest hook to get people interested in the ball is the Tiger ball.
Yeah, I agree.
It
with
just
that.
is that's just what it is.
That's how we got into testing it too. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
and then the BX, which is the one that's a bit less spinny. Honestly, probably the one that you would like, Rick, is a little bit less spinny. Yeah. You'd probably find it like your Pro V1. We've both been using it a bit just in here. That's a good ball. That might be one. Yeah. Maybe we'll send you a sleeve of ours if you can't get any, but that's a good ball.
Like I say, listen, I don't get sent every single product to test. I often do buy stuff, and golf balls are one of those nice items where it's not too much of an expense. You pay £40 for a dozen or £50 for a dozen, and that's all you need. You don't need any more than that. You probably do it with 6 golf balls if you wanted to.
I know.
So it's not a massive expense with the golf balls. But yeah, it's the dimple pattern looks really, unusual on it with the little dimple inside the dimple, and I understand funky. It. And I even remember, going back years ago, and I'm sure you've been going to the PGA Golf Show for donkey's years, but 3 or 4 years ago, I remember walking into the Bridgestone tent, to try and talk to somebody, and it was just so difficult to actually get anything like, come on, speak to me, let's strike up some line of a communication here.
Exactly what we
were doing.
Year, same thing.
To your point about the chrome softball, Rick, we were doing a video with Alex Etches, Big Al, in the Foresight booth, and he's super quick, and he wasn't going to hit it very far, and he was kind of like 174, 173 ball speed, which for him is a little bit less. But that was with a chrome soft. It's just what they had in the Foresight booth. And the Bridgestone booth this year was right next door. So we sent one of our guys, just go to Bridgestone, grab a 2-pack from someone. Yeah. Just the Tour BX.
Get some freebies, sure.
Go and see if you can. Yeah. We'll bring them back. Yeah. You can have them back.
Gently used, but bring them back.
And and this is going to sound far-fetched, but Matt will verify. His ball speed jumped up to 182. Yeah. Going with that golf ball, the chrome soft, which he was clearly over compressing, losing all the energy, up to a firmer golf ball that was more suited to him. He picked up 9 miles an hour ball speed.
Yeah, he was marshmallowing the chrome soft big time.
He was mashing it. It was nuts.
Crazy.
I mean,
it was absolutely nuts.
It's kind of, like I say, it's funny how marketing plays a big part. You look at what Bridgestone are doing, and they've got the best, arguably the best player that's ever lived playing with the golf ball. It's just won, last year, it's just won the most recent Masters, we're allowed to still say now. He is the reigning Masters champion with their golf ball. And you look at the adverts of the commercial with Connor Sketch, is a good friend of mine, who, the Tiger impression and like Freddie Couples are on there and everything. Like, half of it is like, you've got it.
I know.
Let's get it out a bit more. Come on, share it. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know what you. Obviously, I kind of think over the pond you're going to be a little bit more connected. But obviously, my golf spy did the big test about soft is slow. I don't know if that's something you guys have found as well.
Well, I mean, we done a little.
I don't know if you're allowed to say or not.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, definitely.
We've kind of tried to, although we have relationships and we are technically a customer of all these companies.
Yeah.
We still say what we think, don't we?
Well, because we're customers of all of them, right? And I think they understand that you're only really doing anyone a favor in the Bay if you give them the best product, right? So they have the option of all. So we're fair to everyone. So yeah, the golf ball testing we've done, I think initially when that test came out, it was mostly me doing it. And I think the softer golf balls, I overcompress all of them. So like most driver tests we did 3-4 miles an hour on a softball versus a firmer ball. The interesting one is when we had a friend of Ian's come in about 90 miles an hour swing speed, and we gave him RB Tour X, the new Mizuno ball, which is like 110 compression, so really firm. And he actually got his best ball speed out of basically the firmest ball we could find. But that being said, there's been other balls that are kind of soft that haven't been that slow. So I think there's kind of a spectrum to it. I don't think it's set
Think back to last week when we done the tour response video.
Yeah, tour response.
That's a 40 compression
new Project A, right?
Versus TB5X.
Yep.
There was 2 miles an hour ball speed with the driver.
Yeah, that's the new one.
So negligible.
Yeah. Well, it's almost that's the Project A replacement, isn't it?
It is.
Tour response.
Yeah.
And I even remember when I did the Project A video, I almost said it's a TP5 in disguise.
It is,
and it'll be similar again. The tour response, these premium golf balls, you know, the best of the best are the best balls. There's no argue about that. And as you go down in the price structure, you do sacrifice a little bit performance, but sometimes that performance is so tiny to the average golfer. Like they're not, if it means they're going to spend half the price on a golf ball and enjoy the golf more because they're not going to be searching in the woods for 10 minutes looking for the $5 golf ball that they've just lost. Like let them, they're gonna play with that. Just a quick one on the Mizuno ball. I forgot to mention the other driver I tested very briefly. I probably need to do a bit more on it. Is the Mizuno driver. I thought that was good this year.
Did you like it? Yeah.
And how priced and certainly the cost as well. Because I factor that quite. I don't know how much you guys do. Obviously, you're from a forward-facing retail standpoint, but for me, I factor in price quite a lot because I think it's such an massively important factor to viewers watching. Like if I tested 5 drivers and just went right, well that one's the best driver, but okay, well that's £1,200. Like it's not realistic. Like I understand that might be the best performance by 1 mile per hour, but let's look at this of a holistic approach and actually let's look at the different because the prices are so varied, you know, in the marketplace at the moment.
That's very fair. I think anytime we've tested Cobra drivers in the last couple of years and Mizuno drivers, they've both been pretty much as good as anything as long as it's been fitted properly. And I think we've said that every time. We've been like, just keep in mind, it's $150 in Canada less for the Cobra driver and the Mizuno driver versus your TaylorMade, your Callaway. And if that comes to the fact where you're still going to get great performance. And I've said to Ian a few times, I mean, now let's say you fit into a shaft that costs an extra $100. Well, you basically saved that $150. You can spend it on a shaft. You can get yourself 24 balls to go play golf. Like it makes a big difference when all things are equal.
How hard is it to convince a customer that comes in who wants TaylorMade, who wants Callaway?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Is there much of a persuasion needed if they are actually getting the best performance out of a Cobra or Mizuno, or are they so stuck in their way that they want TaylorMade and want Callaway?
I think, Rick, when someone walks into American Golf back home, I think the guy standing trying to fit them has no chance of trying to sway them away from that. Okay. I think in here we have a better chance because we have so many tools. We have the data. We can arm ourselves with facts where we can go, listen, your ball speed is quicker, your strike pattern is much tighter. You know, we've got so many different things that we can arm ourselves with from an information standpoint that people will just go, okay, the data's the data. Yeah, we're good with that. So I think we get a better opportunity to sell off-brand product. It was like when Strixon irons first came out.
I think that's a great example because
people were like, Strixon?
Yeah, what is? Well, I did that. So the first time I ever came in and had a fitting with Ian, Rick, 2 years ago, I had original AP2 irons, super spinny. Like they weren't fit for me, obviously. And Ian's, I think your first, because knowing what you know, you were able to say he needs less spin. Went to Strixon 765, a little hotter, a little bit less spin. I looked at them and I looked at Ian. I went like, dude, I don't even know what those are. Like I know they make golf balls, but I'd never heard of them, kind of thing. And I think that's the beauty of this shop being brand agnostic, but also the beauty of like YouTube channels like yours and ours, where people they're exposed to those brands even across the pond. Like as you say, Strixon golf balls are super popular in the UK, but because you said that on your channel, you know millions of people watch your videos. Now Americans and Canadians and Australians are going, okay, well, Rick, test Strixon balls. They're a good ball. Now they see it on the shelf. Now they know what Strixon is.
That's right.
I think it's gone a long way to making someone. Yeah, it takes time to build an open mind. But yeah, the more open-minded you are, the better fit.
So is that how you guys met? Did you come in for a fitting with Ian?
Kind of, sort of. So I did some work for a number. Yeah, if it was the interview, Ian would have passed.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first time I saw him hit a golf ball, Rick, and his club head speed was about 122 miles an hour, and he was hitting at 270. I went, I've got to get this guy on a video, because if he can get 122 club head speed and he's hit at 270, I can get him hitting at 330 super quick. The first fit we ever done, you picked up 50 yards, and
so I came in with. When I was about 21, 22, I was an assistant pro at a club just kind of north of here. We did a lot of ping and Titleist. So I had ordered myself a ping I-20, was spraying the driver everywhere. So I went, rough. Yeah, I was like, you know what you need to do is get it shortened. So 44 inches. I ordered like all the RIP Phenom X or whatever it was. So the swing weight was like, Ian measured like C7 bad. One of the weights in the heel was kind of starting to fall out. Like the thing was in rough shape. So I come in, I don't know anything. And I mean, I don't know anything. I was a club pro, but it wasn't for equipment. So believe me, I knew nothing. He looks at it and he's just kind of like, and we didn't know each other, but I can tell he's just like, what is this? You ordered this. And then an hour later, TaylorMade M1, 2017?
Yeah. 2017 M1 with Mitsubishi Kurakage 60 TX.
Yeah, a solid, I don't know. If a dispersion circle on my driver was like this, the M1 was like this, and 35, 40 yards at least. It was an eye-opener for me. And I think it was probably my first experience understanding the power of fitting, because I was always blame yourself, your swing's a bit crap, why don't you go hit some balls kind of person. And I don't think that that's gone for me, but at least I could look at that and go, okay, well, you kind of handicapped yourself with a driver that was just junk for you. And here's what the other side of the coin is. So that was our first fitting experience together. That was video 1. It wasn't really on our channel, but it was we've done a bunch of fittings since, and it's been an eye-opening experience for me, that's for sure.
So was that for a different business? Was TXG not living then?
So TXG was.
We were in our. We'd been open maybe like 3 months, Rick. We just opened.
He had just opened. So the long story short is, do you ever see Sean Clement on YouTube?
Yeah.
He's an instructor.
He was like one of the originals. Yeah.
He's been on there since 2007 or so. So that's the club I grew up as an assistant pro. So Sean was kind of my boss in the teaching academy. So probably, I feel like it's a decade ago. It might be a decade ago. I started helping him with his videos while I was an assistant pro, just kind of helping him behind the camera, giving him some help. Did some work for him, building his YouTube channel for a number of years. He subsequently has moved about 7-8 hours east of Toronto. So I'm not working with him now, but at the time, 2 years ago, I was kind of doing some market research for him. And honestly, it's funny to have Rick on the phone, because I'm 99% sure I would be watching your videos going, okay, what is Rick doing right? He's obviously really successful. What are his indoor videos offering? Notice the quad, obviously, Foresight GC quad. I went, okay, this is what the top guys are doing. They all have a quad. They're showing the ball flight. They're showing the numbers. This is the upper echelon of it. So I said to Sean, like, let's get this, let's get this for you. Let's make this happen. Sean called Foresight Canada, and they said, Ian Fraser's got a shop kind of midtown Toronto, which, where I grew up at my club, 20 minutes from here. So easy drive. Go see Ian. He'll show you the quad. He'll tell you what it's all about. And you can decide if, this is the kind of thing you guys want to do for your channel. So I guess I showed up. Sean had come and probably had a chat with Ian already. I show up with like the camera gear, come do a little filming. Probably invited ourselves a little bit to come do a little filming. And you had just switched out of TrackMan, pretty much. So we kind of interviewed him, like, basically for our own selfish purposes, like, what do you think we should do indoors, TrackMan or GC Quad? Filmed a video of it, which we posted on Sean's channel, which people loved. He wasn't really doing any equipment stuff. He's obviously an instructor, so it's not like he wanted to pursue it, but it was really relevant at the time. And then I think after that, me and you chatted a couple times. I think Ian was interested in getting into the YouTube space already. And I think the timing of it just worked out great, that I was sort of someone in the space already, understanding the back end of it. Ian's obviously someone who's extremely talented in front of the camera and obviously knows his business just as well as anybody. So just one of those things that couldn't have worked out better, I think, for both of us.
Wow, that's crazy. So do you think, Ian, you would have pursued YouTube if it wasn't for Matt?
So, no. I don't think I would have bit the bullet and went and done it. I would have wanted to do it. Because even I think 2013, 2014, I remember seeing yourself, and I think Mark Crossfield was maybe at the PGA show, and there was people, you guys were starting to go around with a camera, setting up your station at the show, going and seeing every company and making your content. And I always thought, yeah, that's great. You know, content, this is really good. Get the content out there. But it was one of those, you just looked at it and thought, yeah, I should do that, but you just never act on it.
I know.
And it took you to walk through the door to basically go, okay, this is the right time. So, you know, something has lined up here for this to happen. But at first, for me, the content was more for us to show people what fitting was.
Absolutely.
It was more about that for me. So I thought that we could develop a great company, a great brand, and a really nice following. But people wouldn't trust us if we wrote it on a website. This is what we do. So I was like, I want to show them. I want people to experience it and feel it.
Right. See
the results, listen to why we think that the data is as important as what it is, and then hopefully they can use that to make a decision that TXG is a good route for going for a custom equipment.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that the fact that it became, I think our first conversation was where you were saying, like, you know, what's realistic with a YouTube channel? And I think I said, honestly, I remember saying something to Ian like, yeah, if after like 6 months we can get you like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, be nice, have a small audience, you know, showcase your brand locally, let people understand what you do without having to come in the door. That'll be nice. And I think the first few videos were probably a bit of a struggle. And then you and I did our first one, maybe 3 videos in.
Yep.
Honestly, I think the two of us we just get along really well. We enjoy each other's company. We become good friends. And I think we both offer enough on camera where Ian's the expert and I can, because I don't know even a quarter of what he knows, I can ask the questions to him. And it's nice to be prompted. To be honest with you, when I watch like your videos and Peter and stuff, I think it's really, you know, admirable that you guys can speak to the camera and get the information out unprompted. I know I could never do that. I don't think I could sit in front of the camera and go, this is all the things. For us, it's nice because we just have a conversation like this. I mean, it's like we're just having a chat with you and this is a great video. So I think that's why we found a comfort level with each other. It's just like, you know, Ian, what about this? Let's film a video today, record the thing. And when we started, the videos were way too long. I mean, we used to make like 40-minute videos and like all the comments were like, what are your videos so damn long? Like, go watch Rick Shields. Rick Shields' videos are a nice 8 minutes. I'm like, okay, we're trying. We'll get there. But it's a process.
It's a process. It really was.
You must know that. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. You must know that already.
Oh God, yeah. Listen, it's you can never master something that's always changing, is the saying. And you know, at the moment, you know, YouTube is changing all the time. You know, the way that viewers engage with audience changed all the time. I think I'm now 1,900 videos in.
Is that right?
I've been doing it for about 7 or 8 years. And it, you know, I sometimes stumble across some of my old videos and think, what is this? This is awful. You know, and everybody gets that, you know.
Of course.
And I think it's just a stage of development. And, you know, like I said, I do remember your videos being super long, and it's hard because you're giving so much information. It's hard at the first to know what to cut out and what's important and what's relevant. You know, I kind of do it more because that's what the viewer wants. The viewer, you know, as we live in a community where it's instant information now. You know, if I used to get a driver, you know, going back years, and let's say the first ever M1 driver that came out, I'd make 6 or 7 videos with that driver.
Really?
Where now it's like, well, let's just make one a really, you know, a video that has everything in it. Let's have the information, let's have the hitting, let's have the on-course testing, let's have the head-to-head compared to previous years. Let's have and actually still make it only 11 minutes, 12 minutes, and then I don't have to make 6 half-an-hour videos because you know it's tough. It's, you know, and also we live in a world where, you know, we are trying to get views, and I certainly do. We're trying to live in a world where, you know, we want to be able to entertain our audiences, and that's kind of what does entertain the audience a little bit more. But like I said at the start of the show, I think you guys are doing a great job. I think the way that it's put together, it's clear now. You had a YouTube knowledge before you came into this. That's clear now, because I think gone of the day where you can come into YouTube now and actually be as amateuristic as, let's say, I was when I first started. Because unfortunately now there's just too many creators. There's too much competition.
Yeah.
You have to come in at level, if there's 10 levels, you have to come in at level 6 already. You unfortunately level 1 and 2 no longer exist. When I first made videos, there's so many level 1 and level 2 videos on my channel, because that's kind of, it was just all learning at that stage. But now there's become a little bit of a blueprint. And I'm not just talking from golf, I'm talking in YouTube in general.
Absolutely.
I take a lot of my inspiration from YouTube in general, and see what other creators have done in other genres. Sorry, my Siri keeps kicking in. What was I saying? So yeah, see what other YouTubers are doing in other genres, and try and influence that into my own content.
Sure.
So just a quick question: how much has it benefited the business?
It's a great question.
Massively, Rick. Honestly, in terms of the acceleration of the brand and the growth of TXG and the types of conversations we have on a business level is huge. I probably do.
Go ahead.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so I would probably do 85% of the fits that I still do are from overseas clients.
And was
people
that
that have
not
seen
the case
YouTube
in the past?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have traveled from the US or certainly Europe or Asia.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
we would be a purely Canadian company.
Well, it sounds similar to why I really started my channel. I was a golf coach. I'd moved to a driving range in Manchester where there was there was 3 other coaches plus me. I'd moved from a facility where I had a client base, but I wanted I was at a new facility and I was the quietest golf pro there, and that was when I first started. This was 2010, so 10 years ago now. So yeah, maybe I've been doing videos for nearer to 10 years actually. It might have been 2011, 2012. I properly started doing it. And the first thing I thought was, well, how do I promote myself? And the in thing at the time was to be an instructor in a golf magazine.
Right.
That was the in thing. That was the only thing you could really do.
It was.
The in thing was to be an instructor in a golf magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So me being in my 20s, feeling like I had a fresh approach to the game, feeling like I didn't have the beard. I was a bit younger faced. And I decided to try and approach every single golf magazine in the UK, saying, listen, I have a lot to offer. I feel like I can write some really cool articles for you. I'm a new golf professional. I'm this, I'm that, I'm, blah, blah, blah. And basically nobody really got back to me. And I got no articles because at the time, the pros that were in magazines were the creme de la creme. They were the best golf coaches in the world because that's kind of where they would get paid to go in these magazines. So once that kind of failed, I carried on just teaching, and all I found I was just teaching people in Manchester, UK. That's all I was teaching. And there was 4 pros in our facility, which was the busiest facility in Manchester and probably the Northwest. But I was like, well, hold on, once we've taught that many people, where's next? Like, how the hell do we coach anybody from outside of this area? So that's really when I started turning to YouTube. I had a little bit of background in drama and PE. I decided, well, let's try and blend those 2 skills together. I knew nothing about technology. The only I came out of school with 2 main qualifications. I got an A star in drama and I think an A or a B in PE, so physical education. Everything else was dreadful. So it's weird now how I've almost weirdly blended those 2 roles together. But I had no idea in technology. I had no idea in what I needed to do to film it or things like this. And that's why I experienced a lot of mistakes. And there was very little creators on the channel platform at the time. You had, like you say, Sean Clement and Mark Crossfield and me and my golf, and there was very, very, very little amount of people on the channel. On the platform. I was like, well, let's kick things off. Let's see what happens. And it took me a while, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I kept making coaching content. And I always remember the first phone call I got. I always used to put my phone number on the videos, and because I was all about getting lesson bookings. That's all I was bothered about. So I wasn't making any money from YouTube. You couldn't make money back then from YouTube. It wasn't a thing. And I always remember the first phone call I got was a guy from Newcastle. So you'll know, Ian, much further away from Manchester. 3 or 4 hour journey, and it was like, I've seen your video on YouTube, can I book a lesson with you? And I'm like, oh my god, it's actually like worked. Like
awesome.
I've taught someone outside of Manchester, and then the next few years it just snowballed and snowballed. And really, I coached a lot of people from Manchester, but I was coaching many people from further afield, all around Europe, and again, guys from the US were coming over. And the amount of times I sat to myself and thinking, you've traveled past X amount of golf pros to come to me for a lesson. Like, why? And I used to ask this question. They would say, well, I feel I trust you. I know you.
Yes.
I know what you're about. I know
difference.
I know how you teach. If you told me to stand on one leg and spin around 3 times, I'll do it because I trust you. And for me as a coach, it was amazing. I'm sure you guys find it as well. Like, I felt like my clients who were coming see me from YouTube there was no barriers.
Yeah.
Like, there was ultimate trust straight away. Like, it was where in the past, let's say I coached a person. So if you were just, a golfer coming to the driving range at Manchester and you wanted a lesson, they'd just go through a list. Well, who's next? Oh, Rick's next on the list, right? I'd never met this guy before. He'd never met me. He walks in through the door. And the amount of times it was a real, battle to, to get to know people. Like, it was hard to get that communication line open and that trust, where YouTube just smashed down those barriers. Like, people can, and that's what I loved about YouTube for so long. I got super busy as a golf coach, and I found that the trust was just instant. And obviously, a number of years later, it became a business. It became a financially viable asset, where I was always doing just one day a week doing YouTube videos and 5-6 days of coaching. And at the time, I didn't have kids, and I'd probably maybe proposed to my wife, but we hadn't got married yet, so I had something to save up for a house and a marriage. And a nice wedding and whatever. So I was coaching loads and making videos on the side, and then I realized that when AdSense kicked in, it was like, well, hold on. Why don't I take another day out my diary and make some more videos?
Yeah.
And then it got to a tipping point where it was literally neck and neck. And I was like, well, hold on, coaching, I'm pretty much maxed out. I can't coach any more people. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day unless I duplicate myself. So let's drop that down and go even more up on the YouTube, and kind of went full tilt with it. And that was probably about 2014, 2015. And then from those last 5 years, kind of been 95% YouTuber and Facebooker, and all the other platforms. And it's been a fun journey.
That's a great story.
Yeah. Do you enjoy when you were doing the content and the coaching? Was the content the best part of your week, or the coaching the best part of your week?
I got addicted to making content very quickly.
Yeah. Because that sounds a bit like me, in that I kind of purposely do the videos on a Monday with Matt because I want to start the week well. So if I really enjoy a Monday, everyone goes, I hate a Monday. Start the week, first day after the weekend. Well, I look forward to a Monday.
Yeah, me too.
So it completely reverse the psychology on the week for me, because I love my weekend, but I love a Monday, and it feels like a long weekend.
Yeah, it kind of turbocharges your week a bit. You kind of you get that. I can see how you can say you get addicted to making a video, because especially when we're in here, we had a couple good videos we filmed today. I'm already thinking, I'm looking forward to editing them. I'm looking forward to posting them, reading the comments. I'm sure you're the same. When you film something good.
So much. Yeah,
it's such a good feeling. It really is.
Yeah, it's very addictive, and I must admit, and you might find it, it never actually goes away.
Not yet. That's
it's an addiction.
Yeah,
but I just don't think it will, because there's always something to aim for. There's always certain milestones. There's always certain records that you beat in your own. There's always better videos that you've made. There's always better videos that you put together and editing and sharing, and the comments are better. And the comments, you get new subscribers every day. It's like, okay, something's still working. To answer your original question, though, at the time, it was not much sleep. It was a lot of work. I used to edit a lot myself. And coaching became so almost automatic.
Yeah.
Which it sounds awful to say, because I loved it. It was my theatre. I'm quite a theatrical coach. Like, when it was always 4 of us in a coaching facility, a bit like your facility there, but outdoor, and there was 4 bays stacked up on each other. And I always kind of wanted to be the most excited and the most passionate
energetic
and the most because that comes across, and it comes across in the way you deliver your lines. You're like, right, you know, we really need you to fix this grip. This grip is going to change your game forever. Come on now, let's check. Like, and really trying to get that energy up, and I'm sure you guys find it the same. Like, how does your structure work at the moment? You've got a 7-day work or 7-day week. What's the structure look like at the moment?
So year one of the YouTube channel was, so we were still in our infancy at TXG. We were a really small company trying to grow. So I'd basically fit 5 full days.
Yeah, you were.
And I would do the content on a Monday. So I would go into I'd done a 6-day week for a year. Yeah,
it was, and I think probably, so like we would film Mondays, and then obviously, so I don't work here except for filming.
Yeah.
So I would go back and edit.
So you don't work there?
No.
Well, I mean, I do and I don't, right? Like I'm not a fitter here, so I'm on the marketing side. That was what we originally talked about, was I would come on and do the marketing. Yeah. So
are you the only fitter, Ian?
No, we have 6 fitters here.
Other guys too.
I guess people want you though, right?
They tend to.
It's kind of went a bit that way. So we need to find the balance between.
No disrespect to the other fitters, by the way.
No,
the boys are great.
Fair
I mean, it's funny. Peter's got one of our fitters on his new podcast next week.
Yeah, Chris, one of the fitters, is on Peter Finch's podcast. Yeah.
So which will be fantastic. I really want the boys to have the same platform that we've sort of built, but I kind of put it on them to go get it. Like, we're not going to give it to you as such. Go do your own content.
Develop your identity a little bit.
How do they fit when you guys are filming?
Mondays we're closed. Sunday, Monday our facility's closed, Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a quiet day. So I mean, now we're closed all the time, but generally Monday is always closed. Door stays locked, phones go on silent, and we film. So to answer your original question, we would always film Mondays. I would go back, kind of edit for the rest of the week. I have a marketing business in general, so I was doing more of other stuff on the side. I would say probably 6 months in, I probably said to Ian a couple of times, I said to him, like, given, you know, what you're doing, and I can see how well the YouTube channel has gone. And to be quite honest, I was pleasantly surprised at how well it was going. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say, in general, but I wouldn't have expected it to do as well as it did. Mm-hmm. And I said to Ian, maybe you want to temper your schedule a bit, allow yourself to not, you know, burn out by Saturday, so that Monday, you know, we can do more, or maybe I can come in another day of the week. We can film a couple more times. So I think over the course of that first year, we both started dedicating more time to it. And now that we're in kind of year 2 and a bit, I'm here 2 days a week for sure. One is full filming, another day is kind of more marketing stuff, do a little bit of editing, a little bit of extra filming here and there. So and Ian dedicates a bit more time. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you joint owners of the YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But then you Ian, own TXG, the store,
TXG's
the
Ian's,
brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get you.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's worked well, and I think we've found the right balance for us, because one thing I'm sure you've noticed, of all the club fitting companies that are out there, none of them have really dipped their toe in the water when it came to the content space.
No, true.
You know, Cool Clubs haven't, True Spec haven't really, although they have obviously golf.com.
I think they do it in the more traditional media sense. I don't think any of them are on. I know none of them are really on YouTube on a regular basis.
I mean, Club Champion kind of are now.
A little bit.
They try, yeah.
But I mean, I think at this level where, you know, like Rick, for example, posting a very regularly established channel, I think they're maybe still in the very infant stage. But I was
going to say, what's your upload schedule look like? Do you aim for a certain amount per week?
Yeah. When we started,
what did we start with? 2?
So funny. No, the first conversations we had, I'm like, dude, let's make I'll come in, we'll maybe upload once or twice a month. And then it was like, remember that conversation? I'm like, let's get a couple videos a month.
Seems
then
like
it was
a million years ago.
Then it was once a week. And now, pending any scheduling issues, we're weekdays. We'll do, you know, Monday through Friday. So Monday is usually just a live stream. We'll jump on and do Q&As, which we do for about an hour and a half. Yeah. And then we'll have a video.
I need to learn how you do those so well, by the way.
I'll make you a deal. If we can do Golf Bitter Canada edition, I will show you how to do the live streams the way we do it. I think that's a fair trade.
I don't know if the whoa, let's not get hasty.
We'll get the lawyers in there.
I'll be all right with lives. I'm not bothered about lives.
Right. That's hilarious. A quick no.
No, it's fine. No, they are quite cool. So Monday to Friday,
Yeah, Monday to
that's
Friday.
great.
Yeah. I mean, since the lockdown, we've been doing every day since the lockdown, just because we don't. Me and Ian don't go anywhere except here, which is closed. It's a vacuum basically. So we're either home with the wife or we're here. So we've come here a little more often. So we've been putting out a video a day just because we found our audience kind of finds it as a nice little therapeutic thing to have a video to watch.
I'm sure you get the same thing right now, Rick. A lot of people.
Yeah, the views in March the views in March were the best views I've ever had.
Yeah, because people want to watch more than ever.
I think I was somewhat. I mean, I'd always, in hindsight, wish I'd made more. I kind of was almost cautious. I made 4 weeks worth of videos before the lockdown, which I've been kind of going through. Obviously I've now got this set up at home, which is a lifesaver. You know, I think it's one of those things because and I'm sure you guys will be the same. If suddenly things, you know, went to pot, you adapt. You quick. You know, I've always tried to be quick on my feet, and you know. Yes. As soon as lockdown took place, as soon as the PM on 3 weeks ago on Monday said we're shutting down, and I got the news that golf courses and facilities were shutting down, it was like, right, I need to do something. That night I researched like crazy what I needed to set an indoor simulator up. Obviously I had a lot of the equipment already with the quad and the computer and everything else. And 8:30 the next morning, everything was ordered, and the day after it had arrived. And the biggest challenge was emptying this place out of kids' toys and prams and frigging all sorts, golf clubs and whatever.
That's hilarious.
But like I say, I've only made a couple of videos in here so far. But yeah, I think for the next, depends. I just wanted to work out how long it was going to take, and it sounds like it's going to be another 3 weeks minimum.
Yeah, I think that's what most people are guessing. Do you see yourself using that studio a little bit, even once things get back to normal? I know you have obviously the work set up too, but do you think you'll use that a little bit when you need to?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it came out better than I expected.
It looks good.
Looks great.
Good,
yeah, it came out better than I expected. You know, I think because I know, like you guys, if suddenly you had to do it from scratch again, you know what you need to do.
Yes.
Like this wasn't new to me. I've done this 2 or 3 times already, set up golf academies, and I kind of knew what I needed already. So I had an idea, and luckily, you know, if I drop an email to a brand, they seem to be quite quick to respond because they might want some PR or whatever out of it.
Fair enough.
So I got a bit of assistance and whatever. I paid for it all myself, to be fair, though. I didn't get anything for free, like the bay and stuff. They gave me a little bit of a discount, but it could be a temporary base. I don't know. It's there's nothing wrong with it. Like the ceiling's high enough. I can hit driver and everything. It's fine. It's just it just feels a bit weird being at home and in my garage. Like it doesn't feel like work. Like
you're going to work.
Literally, I'm 3 steps out that door, and if I film in the day, I get greeted by 3 screaming kids, a wife who's sick of the kids. Like, so if I am going to film, the 2 videos I've filmed in here so far have both been filmed at 11 p.m. at night. Like, so, and to be fair, that's a nice quiet time. I just don't know what the neighbors potentially. I've not stood outside because my wife doesn't play golf. Like, I don't know what it sounds like outside. Do you get what? Because I can't hear what it sounds like outside. So
at the same time,
anyway, who cares? Like,
the neighbors they'll get over it eventually.
Yeah, no. So hopefully, like I say, I've got some really cool ideas. I think I'm somewhat fortunate that my channel doesn't rely on one strand of content. Like I've got strands of content that I can make content about. I think coaching content at the moment might have seen a slight spike when everyone got quite excited about practicing. I then feel like it's going to dip down a little bit.
Yeah. That's probably a good assessment.
Fun, entertaining videos are going to do really well for the next few weeks. I would imagine. Let's see.
I agree with that too. I think people are more than ever just going to sit down, relax, look at their favorite YouTube channels, and just go. I just like whatever it is you guys are up to. I just like to watch. I like to just hang out and tune into a lot. That's why we've been live streaming, because it's just like people just want to hang out and chat and get on. I
think the biggest challenge and advice to you guys and anyone else, other YouTubers listening, like at the moment, if anything, we are as much competing with Netflix and Amazon Prime than ever before. Like 100%. I would say you're right with that to some degree. People are going to sit down and watch, but they're not going to watch any old crap. Like it's still like it's still at the moment got to be content that is, like, say, as good as you can ever make it right now. and that's why potentially filming in here it's okay temporarily. I just know it's not as good as I absolutely want to make it. But let's see what happens. But no, it's a shame, because I was really looking forward to this year with the growth and, you know, seeing what it could get to, you know. Like I say, at the moment, I've not seen any slowing down. I just don't know how long golfers are going to stay keen on golf if we've not played. I don't know if are we going to get more desperate for it, or actually is that kind of appetite going to tail off a little bit? We don't know yet.
That's a good question.
I honestly don't know.
It's such
I feel like at the moment, sorry,
go for it,
Week, like Masters Week right now, I am chomping at the frigging bit. I want to inject golf into my veins directly in. Like I'm desperate for it. I just don't know if in 2 months am I going to be even more chomping at the bit, or is it actually going to have like plateaued and I'm suddenly into cycling or running and I'm setting up a different YouTube channel?
A different hobby just to fill the void. I think the thing
with golf is, and you know, and I know you've been conscious not to want to get into the whole, you know, COVID deal, but
yeah, for sure.
If it turns out that they do sort of stop us getting into these mass gathering situations, so like football games back home, NFL, whatever, baseball, and they turn it into more, you know, more sport events that are you just watch them on the TV, and they keep the public away until they have a vaccine, which is a very possible
I think that's a case right
now, that they don't allow mass gatherings for potentially a year.
It could be
that's what they're talking about over here.
Yeah.
So golf could thrive in that sense, that, you know, we're able to keep ourselves away from people more than you can if you go to a football game.
That's very true. Yeah, because you can play. You can't go out on the field. You know, you can't play a football game and not touch somebody. I mean, I can go play golf and I can stay 50 feet away from you if I really need to. So yeah, it will be interesting to see.
I think short term, I've seen lots of things on Facebook and Twitter and stuff at the moment saying, why can't we play golf?
I know.
I think that there's so many reasons why we shouldn't be playing golf right now. Like,
now
it's the fact that it's just not even. If you drive to the golf course and are in an accident in your car, that's more pressure on the you know, the health service. Like, and even if they said at the moment is, what's wrong with just playing in a one ball? Yeah, but realistically, if you opened golf courses, not one person, not 18 people are going to turn up to the golf course.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people are going to turn up to the golf course.
A lot of new golfers.
A lot of new golfers.
If they wanted to, you know, can you imagine the people go, I'll give golf a go.
I know.
Why not? Why not? Just because it gets me out of the house, I'm allowed to do it, you know, and it's, I'm sure green fees would, I don't know, would it drop or would it go up? I don't know. I like to say, it feels scary at the moment to what's going to happen to golf courses. I mean, I don't know how. I'm guessing, do your golf courses, like, how do they survive in the winter? Do they turn into ski resorts or something? How does that work?
No, there's two kind of answers to that. A lot of private courses develop indoor facilities. So I'm a member at some golf course down the road from here. We have a smaller version of this. So you can still go and hit some balls and practice and play, you know, TrackMan rounds with your pals. A lot of public courses that don't have that, it's pretty much shut. Do little corporate events in the banquet centers.
I think Rick, from what you and I know of is how you pay for golf back home. They charge accordingly.
Yeah,
here is what I would
concentrated
say. So,
like,
if you want to be a member of a nice course, an okay course, not the best, you're paying probably $7,000-8,000 a year.
Yeah, that's
to be a member.
Wow. Yeah, it's a great point. It's your fee structure is concentrated. Yep. So your green fees, I'm sure, are at least 50-60% higher than what you'd be used to in the UK.
Yeah.
Because we play May through late October, and that is it. And when it's over, it's over. So yeah, I mean, indoor golf is a big thing here, obviously. But as a golf course business, you're very seasonal. You make your money in the summer, and then you hang on for dear life during the winter time. It's just the way it is.
How did you end up in Canada, Ian?
So I was working at Turnberry for TaylorMade at the TMPL out there. An investment group from Toronto reached out and asked. So I was working with. Do you ever remember? Do you ever remember a guy called Carly Booth? So Wallace Booth was a friend of mine. So Wallace. So I was working with a lot of the players from the Scottish national team. TaylorMade were sponsoring the national team. I was working with a bunch of those guys. So Wallace Booth. there was the Keir McNichol, there was a bunch of boys who, and basically the team who won the Eisenhower, which is like the World Amateur Cup.
Okay, yeah.
I was working with all those boys. So there was a group from Toronto went to college with 2 guys from that team. And just in a conversation, they were telling the guys about, they had this concept, custom fitting. And I guess my name came up in the conversation. Well, if you want someone for this, go get this guy. In terms of club fitting in Scotland, he's who we go and see, and he has a good reputation. So I think I was maybe 26, 27 at the time, and I just thought Canada would be a great adventure. I'd kind of done the demo day rep, performance center, performance lab. I had worked on tour events for TaylorMade. I'd kind of done everything I wanted to do for a single brand. And to be honest, I'd lost my belief that a single brand philosophy was the way to go anyway. So I would find myself at demo days or events going, if you're looking for that forged iron, go see the Mizuno guy. He's got some real, and look for this one and that one and try this shaft. And I kind of became a brand agnostic fitter while working for a single company. So it started to get
you're confident enough to say that now.
I was going to say, you would have been fired at the time, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the truth was, at the time, TaylorMade weren't making a good forged iron. They weren't making great wedges. There was things that at times other people were offering better product. And I think just deep down, if you have a true passion for helping people, you'll always just default to telling them the truth.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Are you big believers in that? There's no one brand that can do everything.
I found myself, Rick, in fits where I didn't even realize I was going down the line of fitting someone to a brand until I've literally put the quote on a page.
Yeah, when it's over, when you've seen the data.
You're in such tunnel vision with what's the best driver, what's the best 3, what's the best hybrid, irons, wedges. And then all of a sudden you're like, how did that end up?
And that's almost accidental. I think now
does it ever do that actually? Does it ever?
It's very rare.
Once or twice a year.
Unless you're a tour player.
I know.
Unless you're a tour player. I think your chances now, like, would you agree that all these companies now make a better full set than they ever have? Like, you have if you had to be a Mizuno player, I'm only going to play Callaway, I think 100%. Now you're better chance of getting 14 good clubs. But even in the 2 years I've been with you, there's no way that the best bag of clubs for any one player is 14 the same. There's no way.
When you talk to tour pros, and I remember having this experience, I was doing a session with Monty down at Turnberry, and he was with Yonex at the time, and they'd sent him an E-Zone driver, Fubuki K shaft 60X. So I kind of build this thing up and we start hitting it. And just, Monty's a little bit steeping across it, and just he's just getting nothing out of it. He's maybe flying at 245.
Oh no.
He's just getting nothing out of it. So at the TaylorMade lab, so I make up an R11 with them, put a Diamana Kylie in their form. I kind of turn the loft down a little bit, but with R11 we had the sole plate technology.
The big red thing at the back.
Yeah, so kind of turned the loft. Yeah, turned the loft down. It's exactly. But closed the face back up. So for him, he was losing so much by cutting across it with his E-Zone. But there was nothing you could do. That's just the way that it was.
Not adjustable. Yeah.
So we turned the loft down, put the plate up so it squared the face, and then he was able to kind of turn it a little bit, and he gained probably about 20, a little over 20 yards. And at that point, he's like, I really have to go out and play this driver. He's like, this is awful.
And he was with Yonex, so he couldn't change, I guess. That's the moral of the story is if he was brand agnostic. Tough for those guys, though, because it's like, for Rick, for you, for me, for Ian, it's like, there's really no benefit for us to have a contract. I mean, it's better for us to be brand agnostic.
100%.
Be impartial for your reviews. I mean, obviously, like a Nike sponsorship, a Galvin sponsorship, doesn't matter. I mean, they don't make golf clubs, either of them anymore. So for those guys, though, I mean, a lot of them need to make their living. They need a club sponsor. They need the tour van. Yeah. It's tough. Like guys like Brooks get away with it, I guess, because all the tour vans will give him whatever he needs. Yeah. But a lot of guys can't do it.
I think a lot of those guys stumbled across those deals because, let's say, when Nike came out making golf clubs, a lot of them were just left to, okay, well, let's fend for myself.
That's a good point.
And a lot of those guys end up fending for themselves. It's happening a little bit more now with a new wave of golfers coming through because they've seen the success of Brooks Koepka and stuff. I mean, it's I don't particularly believe in there's one brand that can do everything. I think there's brands that are getting close, really close. but let's say, and going back to sponsorship, I've been offered sponsorship from every single brand on the planet for clubs. For me, I just don't see, for me personally, I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I think for me, being able to vary it, and the fact even like, I actually love using old golf clubs. Like I love having golf clubs in my bag that aren't the newest and greatest, regardless of the brand, because I honestly believe for me, that was the best club, you know. And if someone said to me now, what hand on heart, which three would you think's been the best over the last 5 years? I'd have to say the F7, because it's the one that that I've loved for so long. And it, but yeah, no, it's really interesting. It's what's funny, going back to that story about when I first started YouTube, I was actually never a equipment junkie.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Like, I mean, I might still come across, but like, I don't particularly. I was a coach. Like that was I was a coach first. Deep down. That's all I wanted to do. And if anything, if I had a client come in and spent $2,000 on a set of clubs or $3,000, I think they were stupid. I just, because I was like, well, I can make you better than those clubs. Like those clubs. And then weirdly, I stumbled into testing equipment. I got my hands on one of the first ever Nike drivers, the covert red one. And suddenly realized, well, actually a lot of people are interested in this stuff. And I was like one of the first people to ever show numbers on a driver shot. Like you'd hit a golf shot and it's like, well, that's how far I'm hitting it. And people were like, oh great, I've never seen that before. Oh, this is cool. And then they followed the journey that way. I suppose it's, you know, it's why guys will keep coming back to your channel, because they know that how far you hit it, and they'll know, well, this next club is it going to be better? Is it going to be faster? Is it going to be more forgiving? Whatever. And you establish that loyalty and that connection with the audience.
Yeah, and you quantify it with data, you back it up. I mean, that's the thing. I think people tune in to some degree. They still want your opinion. They still want your take on it. But at the same time, you've got GC Quad there. We've got GC Quad there. And it's like, you know how it is. You can't lie with that thing. It says what it says. The readings are what they are. We get people asking sometimes, oh, can't you change the numbers? Nope, those are the numbers. So if you can blend the two, which I think is what people like about you, is they like your personality, but also, you know, there's data there that they can, at least if they are a numbers oriented person, maybe not quite as much as our viewership is. I think our viewership is like a super data oriented, which is fine. It's, you know, different strokes for different folks, but that's obviously, I mean, Ian can tell you, I think TrackMan being introduced changed just clubs in general, changed golf in general. Obviously.
And even before that, so I timestamp as Pro V1 changed the game.
Okay. Yep.
2000.
Yeah. And then 2003, Ben Curtis played an Aldila NV. And I would say the UST Pro Force was probably the real one that changed it, but everyone wanted an NV.
You think those were that big, Really?
Game changer. Wow. So, because at the time, that was it. I mean, and you had one, didn't you, in your fairway wood?
In that golf bidder.
In that golf bidder thing. You and Pete both said the same thing. You're like, this was the one. How many people wanted this shaft? And but even before that,
the Pro Force yellow and purple shaft.
And, did you ever hear the story with that shaft?
Not really.
That was a dud. That shaft was a dud. It was an all black shaft.
Yeah.
And they had stockpiles, but they really believed in it. They thought, you know, club heads were getting bigger. It was tip stiff by design, so quite good to manage these larger heads and the off center, the amount of twist that you're going to get from that. So in a marketing meeting one day, they're like, what do we do with these black, shafts? And one guy's like, let's paint it yellow and purple. Stop it. So they took the shafts and they painted them yellow and purple. That the Pro Force Gold was born.
That's ridiculous.
Crazy. So that was the one, because it was so you could see it from 2 fairways away.
It's funny that you say, well, because that's
just fashionable to have it.
Yeah, like
it became like that, didn't
an icon, right?
You know, you've got the Pro Force Gold, you've got the Aldila, you've got the Grafloid Pro Light, you've got the EI70, you've got the graphite design purple ice.
Then the Grafaloid Blue came out.
The blue, 100%, exactly. So, and that was when I was kind of just getting into it, and that was just people wanted the colors, and I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rainbow back there, basically,
rainbow up there.
Yeah,
exactly. It was the time when Titleist drivers were the king, and things like putting. Do you remember the fluffy head covers? You'd turn them inside out.
Yeah.
And also, do you remember the one? Was it the 975 that had like the tiger stripes on the side, and you could peel the tiger stripes back, and it would look like a lizard's head. Like
so many people had that.
But that was like, it was more fashion than function. Like back then, it was literally just, I just want it because, where obviously now with launch monitors. It's become there's still an element of fashion. I'm sure you guys see it. Like the people still want the funky coloured shafts. I mean, is that a thing?
Oh, ADDI, the tiger shaft, the orange graphite design. I mean, people ask for that. Especially we have a sort of large Asian community here. They all want to come in and hit graphite design.
Yeah, because it's popular in Japan. It's famous.
Huge in Japan.
A lot of Japanese tour players that play. Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting when Rick asked a question earlier, like how much is that loyalty to a certain brand? Like there's that like I love TaylorMade thing. Then there's also like I saw so-and-so using that shaft. I think that shaft is like the worst thing on earth for you. Like you have to get those people out of that and go, actually, the blue one is more for you. Even though you like red, you might want to consider a different one.
Yeah.
I mean, is it not a service where you can just color the shaft differently?
That's a great question. There is a company in Canada.
You can skin them. You used to be able to skin them, didn't you?
Skin. Do you remember those? Yeah, you could skin the shafts. Accra actually you can design your own Accra shaft.
Yeah, Accra does a great job with that.
So they do a good job.
I feel like designing your own though is different to. It's just the orange one is just fashion.
Yeah,
like it's not almost about designing your own. It's almost having that tiger shaft that looks exactly like a tiger shaft that has the double X stamped on it. Yeah, it's a frigging regular 50 gram.
So true. It's so true.
We talk about that sometimes in iconic moments. Like Jordan Spieth's 2-iron when he won the Open Championship.
Like the turquoisey shaft.
Yeah, well, just like how many of those?
Oh no, sorry, that was the orange. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it was the DI, wasn't it?
Sorry,
same one. Yeah.
So if us as a equipment company, custom golf company, if we put 50 of those for sale that night on our online store, they would have all went to Jordan Spieth spec.
Yes.
Not to anyone's personal
and done
spec.
All 50 of those people no favors at all because it wouldn't have fit them one bit. Would have done them no favors.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fashion to it though, isn't there?
There really is. But I think, again, it's like the more of this that goes on, the more of these conversations, the more videos you make and we make, I think it becomes less so. And then the fashion can be more from companies like Accra that go, okay, well, what's your favorite color? That's the shaft that fits you. Pick your favorite color. What's your favorite football team? Put your football logo on there. Like that stuff hopefully will temper I just need Tiger's shaft. I need Tiger's driver.
But I know. But I think there's a difference between custom and fashion.
There should be.
There should be.
I think custom is like, you have control over how it looks. But that's not fashion. Like, I think it's so interesting. Like, it's if I was to buy my favorite pair of Nike trainers or get sent like a pair, you can design your own. No, you know what? I'm just going to go for the most popular design because that's fashion. That's fashion. I don't want to make them look. Worse. But that's just looks into.
Yeah, that's true enough. Yeah,
100%. Tell us a little bit about driver versus driver. How is that experience?
Yeah, that's true.
That was an experience that I'll never forget, and it molded the future of how I made content.
Brilliant.
Interesting.
So, what was crazy about that? So. What was it, 2 years ago now? So probably about 3 years ago, I get a phone call or an email from Wilson. So I was familiar with driver versus driver. We didn't get it in the UK. We never saw it in the UK. I tested the driver that came out. Yeah, it never came out in the UK because it's exclusive to Golf Channel. And when the driver came out, God, what the hell was it called?
Was that the Triton first one?
Triton.
That's the first one, the season they did, yes.
Triton, and there was a big hoo-ha about it because it unfortunately didn't pass the CT test and got banned and all sorts. Like, it was very kind of controversial, which was a real shame. So I remember testing that driver because I thought there'd be some popularity over it, considering because over here in the UK, I didn't know how many people were watching the show. Like, I was seeing snippets on social media, so I managed to get hold of one. I tested it. It was okay. That didn't blow me away. And then I kind of, as I was testing it, I was looking through, we started to see more clips of the show. I was like, that's a really interesting show. Like, I've never seen that before. It's like X Factor meets Dragon's Den, or what do you call it out there? Shark's Tank.
Shark Tank,
Well, actually, Dragon's Den is the Canadian one. Shark Tank is
American.
Is it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, UK, it's Dragon's Den. So it's like Dragon's Den meets, X Factor meets, Americans Got Talent in golf. It's like, this is crazy.
So true.
So the first series went, and I didn't think anything of it. I tested the drive, and like I say, I wasn't blown away. And then a few, a year later or whatever, I get an email. You've been the chief of the CEO from Wilson has highlighted you as one of the potential judges for Driver versus Driver 2. Are you interested? I'm like, what? Like a TV show, like a TV show. And what I couldn't understand first is, what did that mean for me? Did that mean I lived in the US? Like, I didn't have any concept of how a TV show was shot. Like, I'm telling my wife, listen, I think we might have to go move to Orlando here. Like, that seriously. Yeah, because at the time I had no idea. Like, I had no idea how much commitment it was going to be. So I was kind of prepping my wife, saying, listen, might have to move to Orlando. We'll rent the house out. Don't worry. We'll get the kids homeschooled. Like, it'll be fine. Like, I was almost prepping it all. We have spoke about it in the past. If work ever meant I had to move out to America for a period of time, probably not forever, but it could be done. So, I was like, right, we're going to do it. And then, so I spoke with the team at Wilson and Golf Channel, because it's more, when I say Wilson brought me on, it was also Golf Channel brought me on, because it was it was really a Golf Channel show that was,
that's true,
operated by Wilson. It was
correct.
It was Golf Channel who employed me. It wasn't Wilson who employed me. It was Golf Channel. So they highlighted me as one of the judges as well. So so when I actually spoke to Golf Channel, I said, okay, I'm keen, but what the hell does it mean for me? And they literally went, it's probably going to be about 5 trips to the US, and you'll be here 3 days at a time. I'm
Stop it. That's it. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I can do that. Like, that's not too hard. Like, that's awesome. Fine. So, I remember flying over so it was over a year, probably 12-month period. I went over to the US probably about 6 or 7 times, in fairness, for 3-4 days at a time. So I flew over to Chicago to meet the teams and to chat, and that's where we first shot the show. And just to be a judge on a TV show, like to have my voice and my opinion, because as much as you guys test like crazy, I get that. Like the testing you put your stuff through is unbelievable, and your knowledge that Ian has for fittings, everything else, far superior than what I'll have. But I feel like, from what experience I've learned from YouTube, is I feel like I know very much what a viewer and a golfer wants from a product. Like, what do they want it to look like? What do they want it to sound like? How do they want it to perform? How do they want it to be adjustable? What do I want from a driver? How do I see it performing? So then obviously the candidates would come up, the oh God, what the hell are they called? Not inventors, not contestants. Can't think what they were called now.
I would ask the inventor too.
I can't remember what they were called. They weren't inventors. Anyway, so loads of designs got submitted. I got to see a load of early designs, like thousands of designs got submitted. I had my say whittling it down. Not loads, just be able to like flick through and go, yeah, that's cool. And then we got it, the team collectively got it down to 12 driver designs, I think it was. And then the TV show started. I got to meet the guys. I got to speak to the people. I got to speak to the guys at Wilson, the engineers, designers. I don't really know how a golf club gets made. Truth be told, it's not my world. I don't see that side of it. I don't see how it's, put through CAD, and how it's then prototype and another prototype and this and that and the CT test and the regulations. I don't see that. It's just not my world. I see the final product nice in a head cover wrapped up. Like, that's how I see it. And I don't need to know anything else. So that was that side of it. It was so interesting learning about the development of a golf club. That was one side of it I really wanted to get out. Then the other side was how the hell they put a TV show together.
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
It's a wild scene.
Like my head was blown off. I mostly film with a very small crew, and most of my filming that I ever did was just with me. If I film now, there's 2 or 3 people around. That's it. Like, it's so small. I have full control over filming, full control over what the edit looks like, full control of the distribution, full control of the idea. Like, with my team, like, but I have the final say. It's my, it's my channel, it's my show. So then going on to this, and literally, and I hate this word that the Americans use, and I don't know if you use it, kind of the talent. Like, I was the talent. I didn't like that. Like, I didn't like, because suddenly, like, it was. I think some people like it.
Probably.
I've seen some people like it. Like, I just felt like no, I'm all right. I can bath myself. I can like dress myself. I'm all right. Like I don't need to be, you know, it was lovely. It was a great experience. But then seeing how a TV show gets put together, the producers, the directors, the cameras, I mean, honestly, the equipment that they had and the fact that they were moving it from Chicago to Orlando to Lake, oh God, what's it? Lake Tahoe to back to Chicago, back to Orlando, like hundreds of people. I think the show that we made for Drive vs. Drivers 2 was the highest, most expensive show Golf Channel have ever made.
Is that right? Wow.
And even the setup, I don't know if you saw it at the Orlando PGA show, the setup they had for it was astronomical for one day.
I know.
Yeah, it was big.
Like this structure was astronomical for what we had to film in it. I mean, it was just mind blowing. So that side of it almost caught my attention a bit more, as you can probably tell by the way I'm kind of more excited about seeing how videos got made, because that's almost what I feel like my world was. And I remember coming back after every single filming session and talking to my team and going, right, we need to do this differently. We need to do this. And I would question them loads. Like, this is a video I was sat with like the directors and the producers from Golf Channel, and they couldn't believe the views I was getting on my channel. Like I've just released a video, and they went, oh, how did that do in the first day? And I went, oh, it had about 200,000 views. And they were like, what?
Yeah, what's
like,
that? Yeah.
What? We don't get that in a week. Like, and that was really interesting, like hearing their feedback on why they potentially thought the channel was doing well and what they thought I could have done better with my videos and how it could have been produced better. And I took a lot of that information away with me and fed it back to my team. And like say before, I'd made 30-odd minute videos, let's just condense it. Like, I couldn't understand. We could be there filming for 2 solid days. And I mean solid days, hundreds of people, hundreds and thousands of dollars being spent on this, and they'd managed to turn it into a 35-minute TV show.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
editing is unbelievable. Yeah,
how is that even done? And like the editor, the people who edited the content weren't even on site when we were filming it all. Like, how do you portray that message back to the editor who sat in an editing suite in Orlando Golf Channel? Like, how the hell does he even know what is going on with 7 different cameras and a floating jib and microphones and earpieces? Like, how do you even put that? And the fact they turned it round so quickly and it looked so astronomically better than I could have ever expected. So that's something I learned. I feel like the show, I don't know how well received it was. I wish it was aired more over here in the UK. It was on the verge. I think it could have very closely been on Sky Sports over here in the UK.
Really?
And that would have been quite interesting.
Too bad they didn't.
Yeah, they streamed it on Golf Channel's YouTube channel. I really pushed for that because I wanted to stream it on my channel. Said, let me stream it on my channel. But what they were struggling with then is that to geo locate it, because obviously they didn't want to get views going away from the Golf Channel TV show in America or Canada.
Fair enough.
So, you know, if the Golf Channel is showing it on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. on Golf Channel on USA and Canada, they don't want it going on my channel, which is free to watch and advert free, let's say. So we had to like geotag content to go out that was only distributed to outside of America and Canada. So yeah, and then when the show was put together, the driver that came out of it, I thought was a very good driver. I think the performance wasn't as peak as it could have been. And truth be told, I think it was too expensive. I think that's what killed it.
Interesting.
If you bring that price down, and I'll be honest, it's probably one of the elements I didn't have a lot of say about. And what I was fascinated about was, you know, when you see all these TV shows, and there's a bit of TV glitter in all of this, there is. But actually coming down to the driver that won, it was down to me, Tim, and JR.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally, we sat down and we decided which driver that won.
It's not just for TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like, okay, we'll stage this where Rick has a say and the other guys have a say, but really it's Wilson who decides.
I know.
Well, what was fascinating is even through the elements, they were saying, right, which driver you think is the favorite? I'm like, I like that one. Which driver do you not like? I don't like that one. Okay, that's the one. If you don't like that one, that's the one we'll bin off.
Yeah.
Like, and it was quite empowering, and I felt like what I said was very important, which was good for me, for my own brand, because I was super protective about how this came across, of how me looking like I was working for Wilson or I'm branded with Wilson. Like I was overprotective, and I made that super clear at the start of any of these discussions. I don't work for Wilson. I'm being brought in as an independent judge, as the most watched club reviewer in the world, or whatever that may be. Like that's how I'm coming in. Like I'm not nothing else. I'm not contracted to use the driver. I don't have to, you know, and I didn't. I tested it on my channel afterwards, and I was honest. I said, listen, I've been through this process, as you might have seen. I'm going to test it. As you mentioned before, I'm going to show the GC quad datas. That's the evidence. I'm not going to do anything else. And it was okay. Like it was a lovely driver. I just think personally, they priced it too much. And that was if they would have priced that at the same price as a Cobra F9, it could have had a really good chance.
That's a good point.
The pricing of it all, I guess, comes to the fact you've made this frigging Billy Wiz TV show, which cost a lot of money. Like
that's true. They would have spent a ton of money that they need to recoup in that margin. That's very true. Yeah, very, very true.
And unfortunately, I think because of the price, the driver flopped. And it's a shame, because I think there was real close, like Gary Woodland when he won the US Open, like he really nearly had the frigging what the hell? I forgot the Cortex in the bag.
Cortex.
Like he almost. I know I shouldn't forget the name. He nearly had the Cortex. Literally, he had the head cover on the driver of the Cortex because it's contracted, and on the side of it, it's like driver versus driver 2. He's walking down the US Open, winning the US Open with the head cover on from the show. It was just such a shame. They were so close to having him with the driver.
Wow.
That's crazy. And I suppose that again might have been different. Like if they've actually had some tour presence, because that's the other thing that Wilson was super protective about, is that if we make this driver, we're going to make it with the best intention to get it in the tour players' bags. But if they don't want to use it, they don't use it.
Yeah, they don't have to.
That's it. Like that's just how it is. Like if they and I think a lot of Wilson contracted players are contracted to irons and wedges, maybe only, because loads of Wilson players don't have different putters, and loads of Wilson players have different drivers. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
I just think they were so close to being able to. They would have never put Triton in the bag in a million years. No. It was too ugly. Like they just wouldn't have done it. Cortex had a really good chance on looks. The performance just wasn't as good as what they was hoping it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say I watched it all.
Yeah, so did I.
Start to finish, and was really interested in it. That I was super thankful that you brought an element of what we do to it. You were the one on the show talking the language that we talk.
True enough. Yeah, talking
about specs and You were talking at time, okay, the CT has to stand up and be competitive with what's in the market. This is a performance era we're in. And I tell you what, you done a hell of a job on that.
Yeah, I think it was a great show.
You really did it. And I love that someone was representing us in that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, in a weird way, I did feel a little bit of kind of pressure in the fact that I was representing the YouTube world, the social media world. Like this is a different era that we're living in, and never in a million years 3 or 4 years ago I never expected a YouTuber to be sat on a judging panel on a TV show. And it's one of the, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what I could do and a lot about my channel, and I learned that I quite like putting makeup on. Which I don't know about.
I saw the nail varnish last week with the girls.
It's come off now. That's right. All that side of it was fascinating, and filming in different locations and the challenges that I had with that. But like I say, and I don't, I like to think that, or I certainly try and not talk too techie. It's not my forte. Like I know it, I don't know it as much as you guys, I know, but I know it. I just don't go into it that deep, because it's just, I want to feel comfortable with what I'm saying. I would rather say this thing doesn't produce enough ball speed. Like it's not quite enough forgiveness. I don't even massively talk about spin rate that much on my channel, because it kind of, if I'm talking to a mass audience, I feel like I talk to golfers, I do. I feel like I do talk to hardcore golfers, I do. But I do talk to a lot of audience that aren't that into golf. Like, they're on the cuff of that. They're on the cuff of like, I might take up golf or I might not. Let's have a quick dabble. Let's have a quick look. And I feel like if they came to my video, I don't want them to walk away and go, what the hell was he talking about? MOI and CT and things like that, because it's just not who I feel like I talk to the best. And I see it from the comments on my channel, the amount of comments I say to, I'm not even into golf, but suddenly I've just watched 5 of your videos and I'm thinking about taking it up. That's kind of who I like to try and talk to. So I mold my content around that. So going back to the TV show, I tried to stay true to that. I was the equipment expert, but I also wanted to talk to the general public, the golfers, the non-golfers. Like I always think to myself, like, my cameraman gave me a really good tip a couple of years ago. I've had a cameraman for quite a few years now. He's worked with me, and he's a non-golfer. He's a left-hander. You'll be happy to know, but he's a non-golfer. And I always remember him saying, "No, he's not." I always remember him saying to me, whenever I'd talk techie, and he'd go, "I don't know what you're talking about," and I'm like, "Okay, well, let's." And he said,
"That's a great point.
Just tell me, like you're explaining it to me. Like, just talk to me like you're explaining it to me." And that was probably about 5 years ago now. And I've always talked to my cameraman like I'm explaining it to him. And he understands it and he gets it. Because I think as soon as I start talking, certainly for my channel, words that he doesn't understand from a non-golfer, I lose what maybe appeals to a bigger audience for my channel.
Yep. I think that's a really important lesson. Never try to be something you're not. And that's what we try to do also. I think Ian being very technically sound, I think that's what he does really well. And so that's what we do. And I think that's why there's room for, you don't have to only have one YouTube channel you can watch. You can enjoy your videos. Someone can come and watch ours to get a little more kind of techie stuff. And I think the only mistake people make is trying to be everything to everyone, because you can't do a good job for everyone. You have to be somewhat specific.
We're really comfortable almost going the opposite way right now.
And I think that's
invest in something like gears, where we're about to start getting into why shafts deflect the way they deflect, how we can influence grip roll, how we can maybe balance head weight and shaft sort of profile in order to create certain sort of effects in motion.
The deep stuff.
We want to get into the real science of it. So
Rick's doing this.
I know that's it, and that's the thing. It's
gone over my head.
You can see, and this is going to be the truth for so many.
Yeah.
But you can see out there right now on these TrackMan forum groups, and the golf machine guys start getting into theory and this and that, and it's just like,
I bet I've seen it a few times where I'll get dragged through a forum and I'll get ripped to shreds. Like, they love biting through my stuff. Like, they love it and they love it and they love it. And I kind of see those golf professionals or fitters in like laboratory coats, like big white coats, and they'll go through methods. And I get that. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because I think golf needs a golf lab, golf doctor, golf scientist. It's just not what I do. It's because unfortunately I'm about mass. Like, I want mass viewership. I want mass. Like, I know every time I post a video, it's going to get seen by a lot of people. I don't want to come across, like you say, something I'm not. And also, I don't want to come across and confuse my audience, because they'll be like, what the hell? What are you talking about? So that's why I kind of try and make it simplistic. And even my coaching videos, I've always gone down that line. Like, I'll keep my coaching videos super, super simplistic, as broad as I can possibly make them. And I understand there's golf scientists that sit in this forum rolling their eyes and absolutely hating what I do, but I'm not making the content for them. Like, I'm not making my content for that person.
It's the best way to put it.
We get it. We get it a fair bit as well. We've done some visits to some OEMs in California, and I've been pulled into certain rooms, and they've kind of maybe put forward like a point that we made about their product, and they're like, "Why did you say this? You've led us to." Don't worry. I bet. And they really don't like it, but we do everything in test form, so we're not lying. We're testing.
There's no agenda to it,
and there's no opinion. It's
just
not
based
an opinion
on data.
when it's based on data and facts. So
I'm just almost more unapologetically review products.
Yeah, I think that's the point of it.
At the end of the day now, and I'm comfortable enough that if you don't want to send it me, don't send it me, because I'm going to get it somewhere else. Like,
you can probably
don't worry. It's actually only going to look worse on a brand if they don't want to get involved. Like,
I know. Sure enough.
What's frustrated me in the past is brands sing over the positives and whinge over the negatives. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways. Like,
well,
it's just how
no
it
one's
is.
making anything. Yeah, no one makes a perfect product. I mean, even the stuff that we think is really good, like the sim driver this year, we've said is really good. Maverick driver, there's stuff that it doesn't
you can't.
do.
It's not for you.
No, the sim I've struggled with, but I'll tell someone that the sim is suited to. That's a good driver for you, but it's not for me. It's just like, it is that whole thing. I think companies. I think some companies we visit are a little bit more, I guess, flexible with that, where it's like, we understand it's person to person, but you always will fight the people that are loyal to one thing, or they want to hear a certain opinion their way.
What's mad though at the moment? What's mad at the moment though is, and I'm not going to name names one bit, but there's been golf scientists who I know have ripped my content to shreds in the forums and stuff, now reached out to me and asking me for social media advice.
Oh, geez.
And it's like, well, I've just done what I've done. I'm just doing the social media stuff, and I'm including golf. Like, it's one of those things where, like you say, you've got to be good at what you're good at and stick to that. Like, you can't be a jack of all trades, because you just end up becoming a master of none, as the saying is.
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
I know.
No, I think that's really well said. We have this conversation all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, if you believe you're doing a good job, the people that don't like it, it's probably not meant for them. And that's just the reality of it. You just can't make everyone like it, or you'll probably start making something that no one likes at that point. So I'm glad to hear you say the same thing. It's good. I think that's the right attitude.
No, you guys, honestly, like I say, when you came onto the scene and it was so slick and professional already, I'm like, holy crap. How have they got to this level so quick? Because it's rare. It doesn't happen that often. Like, channels don't come out and be born like yours are. And like I say, you've developed it. And I've been a big fan of your channel for many years. I don't watch every single piece of content, because it's not every single bit. For me, that's just how it is. Right. And like you mentioned, but I watched a lot of the content and go, well, that's really interesting. That's really cool. I quite like that. I love hearing what you have to say about equipment, because obviously I like hearing what my views are compared to your views. And have you guys seen a ball increase with X driver over X driver, or we found something different? If we found something different, what's been the response? So it's really interesting. But it's I say, as you mentioned before, there's plenty of room for everybody, as long as you kind of, I think the big thing, as long as you're providing content that is entertaining and informative, you win.
Yes, definitely.
Like, if your intent is to provide value for the end consumer, you're doing the right thing.
You're in the right
regardless.
Space. You're in the right space, and you're
and that's the way I feel. And it's cool. We're kind of obviously really enjoying now starting to chat with yourself, with Mark, with Peter a little bit, even chatting with him a little bit over social media. It's just nice that everyone is just, we all do get along and respect each other and what each other does. And, Rick does an unbelievable job, and Mark has his own deal and he does a great job. And I think sometimes people try and portray it like we are, if you say one thing and we say something else, that we're
enemies,
we're bashing each other, and it's never that way.
I think people like that villain crap on social media. I think it's toxic and nonsense.
I love it.
They love that crap.
I love it. I think it's great.
I know. I think it's hilarious to watch.
I don't think,
but it's not
you can't
real,
be
right?
everybody's friend. You can't. It's one of those 100%. Things, and people are going to always clash, whatever it is. And honestly, I do believe there's some level of competition as well on social media.
Of course, there's.
Like I say, I think it doesn't always have to become as like I say, villain and hostile as it sometimes is, but it's like I say, it's all a bit of pantomime, and it's all fun and games.
Absolutely.
We enjoy it.
We appreciate you doing this with us, Rick.
Yeah,
I think
it's late.
Really
it's late back in UK.
You got to get to bed, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for jumping on.
This is the next. Well, I must admit this. I've done quite a few kind of little chatty interviews and stuff now. I've really been enjoying them, and thanks so much for the invite to be on the podcast and the channel. Now I'll have to drag my wife away from whatever terrible TV she's watching, because we're still watching Tiger King at the moment, and I want to watch the end.
It's good. You'll enjoy it. It's a good ending.
Awesome, guys. Keep up the great work. I look forward to meeting one day. Hopefully in Orlando next year, and get a couple of beers. And
let's do that.
It should be good fun.
Thanks, Rick.
That, guys.
All right, Rick. Thanks, buddy.
Talk soon.
Keep it up. See you soon.